Rep. Natalie Price here. Yesterday, the Speaker removed me from the Appropriations Committee to keep me from pointing out the problems with the budget that he dropped today. Well, here are a few of the problems I would have pointed out in committee. You've probably already heard that Trump's disastrous budget bill from last year is pushing more Medicaid and SNAP costs down to the states. As a result, Michigan needs $30 million to staff up and help people get through the new work requirement process. But this Republican budget comes up $7.5 million short. That's not a rounding error. When people can't get help with the paperwork, they lose their coverage, not because they don't qualify, but because they got lost in the process. Hundreds of thousands of Michiganders. And we know from the fight in Washington last year, this isn't an oversight. They're designing a budget that relies on people falling through the cracks. And then when it comes to our public schools, the Republican budget doesn't just cut, it punishes. Schools that teach students about race, that support transgender kids, that provide inclusive bathrooms, they would all get a 20% penalty, a 20% cut to your school's budget used as a political weapon against kids and families who don't fit in the Republican vision of America. That's ideological intimidation dressed up as fiscal policy. And while they're busy policing what your kids are allowed to learn, they're gutting the support for the students who need it most, stripping out weighted funding for at-risk kids and English language learners. That's a statement about whose future they're willing to invest in. And then there's EGLE, basically the state's EPA, Environmental Protections Agency. Republicans cut it by over $497 million. They cut it in half. But here's the truly shocking part. Roughly a third of that cut comes from what are called restricted funds. That means that EGLE will still be required to collect those fees, but Republicans stripped out the authority to spend them. The money would just sit there. It can't be used for anything. It's not savings. It's not going to go back to the taxpayers. It's just gone from the work of protecting Michigan's air, water, and the Great Lakes. And then meanwhile, the majority of EGLE's funding, it's supposed to go directly to your city for things like contaminated site cleanup. Cut that, and those costs land on your local government. And we all know where local governments have to turn when their costs go up. This budget tells you exactly who House Republicans think they're working for. It's not you. And look, it's almost midnight. I just voted no on this bad budget. Michigan residents deserve a budget that meets their needs and reflects their values, and I'm here to keep fighting for it.